Here's someone calling me a scumbag. It's fine. Here's someone, Umbrella Guy, claiming Tim Pool defends Eliza Bleu. Here's Chrissy Mayer talking about me and whatever. The Umbrella Guy talking about me losing it. These drama channels take things out of... Okay, here we go. To all the people who are upset with me, especially over the video that I put out the other day, you know what? I'm going to apologize. Absolutely. And I'm going to be completely honest with you. Obviously, we have our differences, and obviously I feel a certain way, but I don't want to fight with you. Not. Whoa, bro. Looking good, man. You working out? You lost weight? Wow. Great suit, by the way. You working out, man? You're looking good. That's a nice suit. What is that? What is that made of? You know, velour? What, a silk robe?
I'm calling from Los Angeles, and I'm having a little problem under the name ThatUmbrellaGuy. I sent him my phone number at least 20 times in the chat and told him to call me. He ignored me, or I'm a man. I filed the report. If you guys could take a look at it and give me a call back, I would love to hear what you guys can do to help us. We really need to kind of stop this guy at least until Monday. I told him to call me, or I'm a man.
Did you see the picture of Jack Murphy's beard as your hat?
Yeah. That's part of the op, bro. That's part of the op, bro.
Why did I have to lift heavy bags for travelers at an airport, 50,000 pounds per day, loading up all these planes? It's a lot of weight.
Did you work at Midway?
I worked at O'Hare.
Whew.
So I would lift between like 35 and 50,000 pounds.
That's why you're so shredded. Sure. I didn't want to say anything.
It's leftover muscle.
Right. I didn't want to say anything, but it's hard to not notice, you know? Yeah. That's why you're so shredded.
I'm a man.
That's why you're so shredded.
All right. What's up? Man, this has been an interesting one to follow. Oh, man, this has been good. You know, what's really funny about the chain of events that has just happened is the fact that even in saying, yeah, you know what, maybe we should get rid of everything that happened, they even do that wrong. Oh, it's amazing. So if you haven't heard about this yet, this is actually pretty funny because it all falls together over about a 12-hour period. First, last night. Now, I talked yesterday. I'm going to make sure that you understand what's happening here. So I talked yesterday about the TimCast news Shane Cashman article, part 3. The reason I talked about it yesterday and did an in-depth piece on it is because that was the best illustration I could ever give you on how to get yourself sued. Like, no joke. Everything. I mean, that is how you get yourself sued. And I mean, it was a hit piece and a half. I don't understand the context. Like I don't understand how you I don't understand how you think that's going to work out for you. It's not going to cause you any problems. So again, I read through all of that last night. Just to say again, this is how you don't do quote unquote journalism. And this is again what causes your problems. Well, right before Flash, yes. So right after we finished, I'm talking minutes after we finished, bam, the thing goes down. Now, this is going to change too. Okay. The reasoning behind it, it's actually going to get more interesting as it goes forward. But what's up, 2012? Thanks for the tune. Tug, my first article. You called it. Read it. Yeah. Well, it's not a surprise that they would do something. Now, here's the problem with this. Okay. I'm going to tell you, and maybe Timmy Boy can catch this and his people can catch this. You didn't print a retraction. You didn't put anything to try to make it better. You just removed the article. Now that might be good enough for DeFango, maybe. I mean, if that's what he wants. He sounded like he was pretty easygoing, but that still doesn't remove legal liability. You can't just be like, oh, well, this person again, it called him again. If you missed out on all this stuff, so just a broad stroke on this. Part 3 wasn't like 1 and 2. Part 3 went after a specific person. It went after Manuel DeFango. In part 2, at the end of part 2, it went after pretty much everyone. But part 3 was pretty much a hit piece. It didn't have anything to do with Eliza Bleu necessarily. It had everything to do with the guy that they said that started all of this. They said about him again. I mean, it's not that they didn't like him. There's a difference. Like, you don't have to like anybody, right? But to say things like, again, just broad strokes on this stuff here, to say things like, this all started with a man we'll call the gang stalker. The gang stalker runs in a circle that's been accused of controlling hundreds, if not thousands, of bogus Twitter accounts, buying black SUVs and parking outside people's homes to intimidate, and even injecting something into someone who would wake up 2 weeks later with a piece of their minds missing. It talked about how he had driven people to suicide. It talked about how he was running an op that, quote, I don't believe ruining Eliza was their main goal. I think that they reverse engineering a chaos scenario. Maybe they wanted to use her to discredit Elon. Maybe they wanted to use her to destroy Twitter. But I think most likely they wanted to destroy the landscape. And it gets crazier from there. Now, erasing that doesn't make it go away. Okay. Just to make you understand. But I think so. DeFango talked to, by his own words yesterday, DeFango talked to Cassandra Fairbanks. Now, here's a funny thing I noticed. So I was looking in at some of the quote unquote accusations, if you wanted to call some of the craziness there. And the same people that loop him into all of this stuff, here's you a fun one, okay? The same people that put DeFango in all of this insanity. You know who else they put in there? Cassandra Fairbanks. That's right. So her name actually comes up in from the same crazy. So if you're going to throw somebody under the bus, yeah, you're going to get yourself thrown under the bus with that same source, which I found fascinating. I mean, it says so much to it. DeFango, like I say, here's his, he's got a 1 minute clip on this. Okay. So I actually thought it's telling, especially in retrospect, because yeah, this adds a lot of legitimacy to whatever. He had a conversation. I would have had a he's a lot nicer than I would have been. I would have had a conversation, all right. I'd have had a conversation publicly, being like, "Yo, I'm gonna wreck you folks, and I might sue you too." And let's just see. But this is what he had to say. And again, he was a lot nicer. Let me turn on the captions.
Oh, good morning, Griffcastians. I just got off the phone with Shane Cashman after spending a decent amount of times in DMs with Cassandra McDonald, TimCast's producer, on the article that definitely is talking about me.
Yes, it's
From
definitely
my
talking
talk
about
with
him.
Shane, it definitely sounds like they're going to be taking some stuff down, hopefully. And there's going to be another part that they're going to write, because apparently it seems that some people that have been stalking me for very, very many years are also seemingly involved with this particular situation. So that happened. Interesting. I really think that this story is going to change over the next couple of days, and it'll be interesting to see which big YouTubers decide to continue covering it.
Now that right there, he was right, but it's fascinating. I don't think there's going to be another piece, because there's going to be more that happens to it. So yeah, there was indeed a conversation, it looks like, about taking that down. Not that I doubted that. I'm just saying, I think this legitimizes everything he's saying. It was wrong. I think that legitimizes it too. Oh, and then it's going to get crazier. Dark Horse Gifts present things for 20. What's up? What's up, peeps? Just a heads up. Lightbringer Genesis Volume 2 launches Friday. I didn't realize it was coming up Friday. I'll have to check that out for sure. Remind me when we get closer. That's right. Iron Liz, of course. Art by Dean James. Shadowband by IGG, of course. Make sure to check it out and share it. FYI, Eliza Bleu is a grifter. That's funny. I just think it's this whole situation has gone crazy. There's another piece to it too. There's the impact to channel for Tim and the way stuff goes with it, which we'll talk about too. It's so messed up, Lori said was talking about the intro link. Yeah, mine's as she said, you're going to get compared to Yellow Flash. Mine's about 4 minutes and something. It hasn't hit 5 minutes yet. That Flashcast intro is like 15 minutes long for real. That thing is so long. Dreadnought, thanks for that. They should have called the article "A Complete and Total Moron's Guide to Getting Sued." Indeed, that would have worked. And here's Griffcast here. Thanks for 5. Part 3 with Shane shooting his career point blank. Indeed. That's actually what I felt like that was. At the end of part 2, when he turned it into a attack piece, that was losing subscribers. That I would have entitled that portion "How to Lose Support and Subscribers." But yes, part 3, that was destroying any credibility you have, because that went way out in the weeds. I mean, I kept thinking, like, how many drugs would you have to take to actually believe that stuff? And all I kept coming up with was more, more. I mean, really, it's crazy stuff. Then we get another layer of it today. So I wake up today, I'm playing that new Harry Potter game, which is actually kind of fun. I never would have thought I would say that about a Harry Potter game, but it's pretty fun. I've been playing it with my daughters, and I noticed something else. Now this gets interesting, because they decide, hey, we're not going to come back necessarily with another piece to this thing. What we're going to do is we're going to ghost the other ones. That's right. Part 1 and part 2. They also went down. Now that did surprise me a little, just because of the ego probably involved. That tells you that the damage, this is a statement right here that tells me that if anybody was thinking, there's been arguments about whether or not Tim was joking about certain things that came up or not. I think this tells you they're not joking. They're feeling it. They're feeling the pressure. They're feeling the blowback. They know that this stuff is legit, and it's a mess. 2012, thanks for the 5. To those who watch my video, The Blind Lawyer Explains, thank you. all very much. It meant a lot. Hope others find their voices too. You guys matter. Yes, you know, that's the beauty of being able to do this stuff. You have a thing you want to say about something. You have a problem with something like this. You build your own platform. You don't rely on people, anybody really. I mean, you have your own unique voice. But also, when platforms start gunning for you, now here's the problem though. With Tim, even in removing this, first of all, ghosting the thing without any kind of statement, it'll let it die and he'll move on. And just to be honest, this won't end his channel or anything like that. But enough of these things, they harm you after a time. They do. They harm you after a time. And in the internet, you know, you age out very quickly in the internet. If you're wanting to stay here, if you're wanting to do this forever, it's really going to be difficult to do that. It's especially difficult to do that when, look at the disclaimer across the bottom. I don't know if you can read that very easily, but check this out. Due to the fact that the gonzo journalism style of this series was misperceived by readers, the series in its entirety has been removed. We apologize for any inconvenience. Again, I'm going to read that to you again. Listen to that. Due to the fact that the gonzo journalism style of this series was misperceived by the readers, the series in its entirety has been removed. We apologize for any inconvenience. Due to the fact that you're not smart enough to read this thing and understand what it really says, we're going to have to get rid of it. Sorry about that. Oh my God. You can't just bow out with grace, man. The ego that comes up with some of this stuff, it fascinates me because, again, there is a way that you handle things. There is a way that you don't handle things. And this has been like a lesson in how to mishandle items. I mean, just straight up. This has been one of the best object lessons on how to set down, how to create a trash fire, and how to mishandle it. Now, you can see how bad this is too. And again, it even caught Tim off guard. He was, you know, he put up a survey the other day that said, you know, should I retire? Should I retire from? Right. And yeah, check this out. So this actually caught him off guard. This is what blowback looks like, and this is the redefining of what that survey meant. So this came from Alyssa Clips. Check this out here too. Oh, it's something else. Hey, what's up, Dark Gift? By the way, thanks for the 10. Sorry, typo. Already launched past Friday. My bad. Put a link in this chat. Let me make sure. Put a link to it. There. Give me a second. There, you can put a link in there. You know, yeah, Dark Gift has a comic coming up as for Eliza. We in the music industry in the early aughts knew about Eliza Cuts as part of the Psycho Stalker groupies. That's fascinating. A joke, cautionary tale told in green rooms. Yeah. See, that's what I've heard from a few people that have that have been around music circles that knew those. And again, I've never cared that much. I don't see the fascination with following bands to that level. I have bands I like, you know, but just to that level, I've never seen it. And I've never found watching a groupie go around and literally stalk a band, because that's what like her stuff was doing. But anyway, here's Tim's response to, again, he put up a survey asking about whether or not he should retire. And I don't think he liked the results. You know why? Because all the leftists came in and flooded the results, wanting to get rid of him. Again, there's a way you handle things, and then there's the way that all of this came together. But it shows you blowback. Check this out.
Well, so here's what I didn't expect, because I was Don Lemoning with that Twitter poll, because he did the thing where it's like, my show will be ending, but they just changed the name of it, and like literally nothing else changed. I'll just tell everybody right now. I think there's no way we're reversing this poll, but if by the time the poll closes, the yeses have it, then I will shut down TimCast and retire from the TimCast YouTube channel. TimCast IRL will be Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. And I'll be producing my morning show at youtube.com/TimCastNews as per usual. But this other channel I will be retiring from, and then we will be using it to host documentaries and other video content. Now, I know a lot of people are probably not going to be fans of that, as I mentioned, with like You Are Here changing to Primetime Stein, that it doesn't work. People unsubscribe and there's algorithmic problems. The issue is, we've often talked about how there is an issue with 3 different channels producing similar things, and that I have to like make 2 videos on this one, then 1 on this one, and 3 on this one. And they're very, very similar. And we've been talking about doing new content, particularly with Alad. Not only we need a place to put your on the ground reporting, which is very straightforward. And we want to do a morning show. And so we can't just keep launching channels for everything, for every project. Some do need their own project. And so I figured, a lot of people aren't going to be happy about it because they subscribe to that channel specifically for me to do a half an hour show, but I don't want to just delete it outright. And so we've got a new documentary coming out with Lauren Southern, and we're like, where do we put it? We don't have a timcast.com channel for these things. So it's like the website, we'll need a place to put these things. So we'll probably use the youtube.com/TimCast channel, which I will be retiring from personally. And my content will just be located on one channel, youtube.com/TimCastNews, which is my morning show, the Tim Pool Daily Show. And so I appreciate all of the leftists who rushed in full speed to vote that I must shut down that channel and retire from it. So it will no longer be TimCast, it'll be timcast.com. And then my show.
All of the leftists. It didn't. The poll doesn't go his way, which you'll see in just a second. That's the problem. That's why all the leftists rush. Yeah, and it was like, nah, dude, you put up a freaking survey in the middle of chaos, and you thought that because you get backpats online, you figured, hey, the voices that are saying this and get likes. That's actually how people truly feel about this. But there's an unspoken legion of people out there, people who will not comment on stuff. But Twitter balls, man, they don't tell you who's voting or whatnot. And in the middle of chaos, in the middle of insulting, in the middle of degrading people, he puts this up. But it's the leftist. And you see how casual this comes off. Now, again, you'll always hear, this is all joking. I'm just trolling, dude. Oh man, I'm just shit posting, dude. I'm just shit posting. I just say these things because it's funny. No, man, that's ego. That's how it comes out. That is what that is what undoes you. It is. But anyway, continue.
Those will be on each individual YouTube channel. So another way to simplify it is, I don't need 2 channels for one show. It was confusing. People who would listen to the podcast get the full thing. But then if you're on YouTube, it's like you got to go to 2 different channels. And then when I would try and tell people, hey, my next video is going to be at youtube.com/TimCast, they'd be like, isn't that where I am? What are you talking about? And so it was just confusing. So it may result in the youtube.com/TimCast channel not working because people will just unsubscribe. The algorithm won't support this. But I kind of feel like it's better than just deleting a channel with 1.2 or 1.3 or however how many subscribers, especially if many of those subscribers are fans and would want to watch all of this content. So I think I've had people emailing me being like, dude, you have too many channels. We were talking about creating a new channel for a new show and people are like, too many channels. And I'm like, you're right. So there you go. I'm really excited for the documentary with Lauren Southern. We also have from Ben Stewart a documentary on the Federal Reserve coming soon. We pushed back the release of that one because I think they're going to get a pretty good interview, but we're going to talk about the Fed and policy and all that stuff. So as timcast.com starts producing documentary and field reporting and other shows, we'll probably just have that be a central location for all of our videos. Again, it might not work. Some people are going to be like, that's dumb. I don't want to subscribe to that or whatever, but So Ben Foster says in the regular chat, in the member chat, so he's consolidating channels. Basically, we're trying to make it easier for you to find the videos from me reduce the workload and the confusion, because it is confusing. And then we need a space to put the expanded TimCast.com content, which we don't currently have. So this seems like the best way to make that happen. We'll see how it works. Here's the reality. TimCast on YouTube has 1.3 million subs. TimCast News has 1.12 million or something like that. Like there's legitimately 200,000 people who don't even know that the channel exists. Despite, I'm like that, I got to consolidate it, man.
So yeah, there's your poll. Like, look at this. The question wasn't TimCast IRL, all of that. Again, you know, it's just a troll, baby. It's just a troll. You know, I was actually just making a joke like Don Lemon, where I'm going to change the name of the thing. The problem was, it didn't go the way he thought. It actually didn't go the way he thought. This should be a warning sign. Like, all jokes aside, this should be a huge, glaring red flag saying, yo, you're messing up right now. And I think it was to a degree, but again, they can't read it correctly. Like, you know, I also thought it was fascinating to say that I thought Tim wasn't a conservative by his own accounts, and yet the leftists are the ones that, yeah. I thought, like I said, I thought that was probably the best thing of all of that. I mean, when you go in again and you look at why people had problems, people aren't mad because TimCast has channel X or channel Y. They were mad about how not only this was handled, but again, it was handled in a way that was it was nasty. Also, Tim, I hope he understands, and I hope Shane and everyone else understands too. The internet is forever. You know, it remembers, including, oh my God, look, this article. Where'd it come from? Is that umbrella magic that I have? I learned it from Harry Potter. Hogwarts Legacy. No, but I mean, people were mad about that. Again, the gang stalker thing was messed up. It was next level craziness. But again, these paragraphs right here, I think they really irritate. I mean, just listen to this. Then you have a poll after this, and you tell me why people might be irritated with you. We have encountered a gang of leeches here that suck at the skin of a machine they can't comprehend the full scope of because they are so lost in their own narcissism, or perhaps even worse, they are conscious of a symbiosis between them and a destructive orgy, carrying torches and pitchforks and masquerading through the internet, our perpetual trauma machine. These people are digital cannibals. They care more about their name being lumped into a series the same way tumors grow in your body. They worship fame. I realized at this point that it wasn't even worth it to seek quotes from these people because they merely exist in the distant margins of this entire story. But their narcissism, they see themselves as the center of the story. These content creators who live stream for hours and hours every day about Eliza had also already said everything they had to say. They will probably read this and continue to speak out of both sides of their mouth, saying they don't want war. Oh, I want war. Fuck you. You want to wave a middle finger in my face? I'll slap it. I'll slap the virtual taste out of your mouth. You know, I mean, really, what's up, dude? I mean, if you're that nasty about something, you want to go and you want to attack. Again, I don't mind the counterpunch. I think it's fun. You know, so yeah, they say they don't want this. No. I mean, if you notice again, you were in the wrong until you weren't. That's the beautiful thing. But they say you don't want war, but also insidiously antagonizing their audience to believe they have a firm handle on this whole situation. Says the person that had to delete everything. Awesome, dude. And this is no shade at their audience. Of course not. They're trying to figure out a way to they wanted to stem the bleeding, because they were losing stuff. And again, the saddest part in this is that people just go about their day. They get spit on. Like 500 people are like, let me rain money on you in one night for this person. It's unreal sometimes. You're fighting the good fight, man. You're fighting the good fight. No. It's just unreal. But we probably share some of the same audience, but the audience most likely has real jobs and doesn't have time to spend sitting in front of a computer, digging into this story as much as we all have in our various ways. So again, just take at his word and fuck everybody. The audience has learned to trust all of us for our different perspectives. We have been right and wrong throughout the years on some important topic, but these content creators, as of this exact moment, have tripped over their lynch mob brain as they perform pseudo-intellectual pole dances on their webcams. Chicky, chicky, bow, wow, wow. Look at that umbrella. He's doing a pole dance. Oh, so sexy. Yeah. You didn't know that about me, right? You didn't know that I do pole dances.
That's why you're so shredded.
Exactly. That's why I'm so shredded. I've been working out. Jerry, thank you. Welcome. Thank you for the membership. Welcome to Tux Thugs, by the way. K-Rab, thanks for the 10. Cared so little about him. I couldn't be bothered to go vote in his poll. Weasels very rarely follow through on their vote yes or else polls anyway. Figure he already did enough damage to himself. I don't vote. I didn't care to vote in a poll like that, just to be honest. I didn't care one way or the other. As I made it clear, I'm not his audience. And it's not a disdain for Tim. Well, to a degree. I mean, again, I made it clear about the beer bug ultimatums. They really did bother me. They very much bothered me. Again, telling people to fall on the sword, or you're fake, you're phony. Don't feed your families, Otherwise, if you can't feed your family, well, that's okay, man. Because nobody will support you. That'll be great. That's a wonderful message. So yeah, I have. After that, I was just like, oh, I blocked out a channel, but it exists in a different place than I want to exist in anyway. Because I'm not saying that political topics aren't sometimes important, but I mean, really, every now and then you might get a place that we can't even look at a news cycle and truly tell most of the time what is or isn't spin when it comes to politics. I mean, sorting out the basic thing that is happening, especially if you're headline reading. I mean, that you can't follow it. You can't follow stories daily through headlines and truly give a non-biased perspective. You're going to pull it from somewhere. It's going to have some kind of slant. It's going to be jaded in some way, and you yourself become that, even if you don't mean to. It's unintentional, but you unintentionally become biased over the years, And that's not to say that there aren't jacked up things that come out of specific parties, but I think they all get a share of the blame. But anyway, I mean, when you see all of this, you could see how it would go. Now, the gang, like I said, the gang stalker, that was next level. If you didn't read that, the archive is out there. I'll end up posting it too, just to make sure that people did see it. But the Cashman article, again, that went after Defanga was just, it was unreal. Like I said yesterday, when I was reading through this thing, I laughed about it because I thought it was funny, because it was unreal. I was like, oh my God, you can't tell me they're going to go down this particular rabbit hole. But on top of it, this had one person. It wasn't some when they made these claims, they weren't going after some nothing out there, just saying, oh, well, in the ether, there's this thing that exists, and we call this thing the gang stalker. No, no, no. They were saying Defango is this thing. They made it very, very clear. And like I said, if they were going to use what I found fascinating about it was when I was looking through the places that were trying to go, and try to hit Defango, the ones they probably used at least as partial sources, they're the person that schedules for TimCast. They got thrown in the mix too. If they were saying, "Oh man, there's legitimacy to this stuff," well then they have a real problem for their show, even beyond that. It's like, wow, maybe I feel like sometimes looking at this situation, I feel like there's chaos in their own rank and file. I feel like there's a lot of discord, discontent between their own people. Just if you look at the situation, what's really funny about it is if you look at Shane Cashman through this. So Shane Cashman, you look him up online. What you find is that I don't even know. Like, I don't think he was told that this stuff was coming down really like the way it was. Why? Because if you go through like timelines, it's full of, hey, look at my articles, look at that. And Blue depended on these things to try to run interference. Like, it doesn't even look like it was like, I mean, his timeline is filled with, oh, how to survive it, how to do that. Yeah, maybe you should take a lesson how to survive that. Maybe you should really write one on that, because like you're right in the middle of it. You are right in the middle of one. What's up, Devin? Thanks, dude. B seems to have fallen for the grift. Yeah, there's plenty of people. Like Tim has a lot of supporters, and that's on you. You like who you like. I mean, you're totally good with that. I mean, there's a lot of people that see him as whatever. Like I said, that is your prerogative. The crazy thing about this, I watched this play out. I freaking documented the way this came out. You had Tim got backlash from his own audience. He kept calling it other people. He kept saying, oh, no. There are people that are out there. They're basically marionetting this thing. This isn't my audience. This is other people's audience. So finally, he decided to sound off. He said, do you want me to cover this? He threw that out on Twitter. Then he threw out, well, we would cover this, but we had the quartering scheduled. He didn't come on. So essentially, they were saying we can't cover this because, well, the quartering. And they could have brought on anyone. They could have brought on a lot of it. Like, the problem was, like, Brittany Venti, apparently there's problems with their scheduler. And I mean, again, there's this whole lore of issues, but the reality is they brought it up. Then they got backlash for that. The backlash was loud about it. So he responded to what was going on his channel. He finally said something in super chats. Adding to that, though, he decided to have a members only where he pulls in his guest, John Rich, I guess. I think I got his name right this time, and you could tell he doesn't have any knowledge of it. Again, I don't have anything against the guest for it'd be very inconvenient, very uncomfortable being in the middle of a situation like that. You're in a house with a bunch of people. They're telling you, let's get in on this. But they went after, they spent that behind the scenes time having him make an Eliza Bleu song and talking about how everybody's coming at me, the quartering, the quartering threatened me, and Jack Murphy, this and that. They spent that time instead of doing something with that guest. They pulled him into this, which could create its own backlash, which is unfair to that guest. I think, I actually liked his Eliza Bleu song. I thought it was really funny. I got a good laugh out of it. I thought it was funny. Like I said, I disagree with what he had to say, but I understand how, I mean, you took the host's word on it. Again, that is very unfair. That could not just cause them controversy, it cost them money or anything else. And again, he put it behind a paywall. So he talked shit behind a paywall. Bravo, while also saying, I don't like drama. I hate drama. Hate it. But look at this drama that I make members only. So, of course, I can talk to an insular crowd. Like, again, here's the one thing. This is said right out in the open. So if you don't like what I say, that's your ability to say anything you want. I don't care. It's not going to hurt my feelings. I don't care. Why should you? Why should you? You have that. That's part of free speech. You should be able to have that experience. You should be able to disagree in something. But then after there's more backlash to that, he does a 50-minute video, 50 minutes, where he compares everyone else to leftists, like he said in the poll thing. Leftists, you're all leftists. You're all like the Young Turks. You're all drama channels. Basically, I'm not drama. Like Yellow Flash said the other day, he sold, everybody's drama grifters. They're all just grifters, right? I mean, this is the same guy who sold, he sold survival buckets. Oh, you want to get into that? Get your survival bucket on. And I don't hate you. I don't hate that at all. I think it's funny. I mean, you get money however you want, man. But you can't say that you're not out there in the grift. You're not out there getting money. I don't want money. I don't want any of that. While you're hawking survival buckets. I mean, come on, man. That's just nuts. After that, more backlash. You have more backlash. Then you get hey, I apologize. This stuff with James O'Keefe, I don't want to cover. We don't need to fight right now. While all that's going on, you have his website hosting attack pieces. They go from a puff piece in part 1 to part 2 and part 3 become attack pieces. So the entire time this is going on, people are you're getting gaslit the whole time. People are like, what the fuck, dude? Because, and there's so many people out there that want to say, he's not responsible for that umbrella guy. It's his site. It's his brand. I mean, what are you not responsible for? Like, again, if I were like, that umbrella guy presents a giant middle finger to you all. Watch it sing, watch it dance, watch it pull down its underpants. I mean, that might be funny, but I mean, that's presented by me. Yeah, it's the same thing. Watch me host that. Oh, Lord. It's so strange to me. And again, this decision seems to have been made without Shane Cashman. So if the decision were made without him, that tells you somebody has ultimate control over it. They can pull this stuff like that if they want to. I still would say, I would, to make sure my ass didn't get sued, I would, most people ask for a formal statement and apology for something like this. That's typically what people, what they want, or they want a follow-up piece, whatever. I would definitely recommend that in something like this. You don't just ghost the thing after the damage is done. Again, you can't put the proverbial bullet in the hypothetical gun. Again, you can't just rewind time. Well, unless you're in that movie, what was that movie? Tenet. Maybe you can rewind something and do some bizarre shit with that one. But in the real world, that is not how it works. And what's up, Burrito Man? Thanks for that month there. And the dancing pickles. I mean, you also have Eliza relied on these things heavily, and currently she's on quiet mode. After. In fact, I think these emboldened her. It didn't just it didn't just get her talking about and going. It did. It very much emboldened her to to do all kinds of insanity. Wait just a second here. I noticed something. So TimCast News has also pulled the links to the articles. You can see them on Eliza Bleu's timeline. She embedded some of the story itself, but you can see like the TimCast News Twitter, they pulled it as well. So I mean, they ghosted it. They were like, yeah, nah. But I mean, it doesn't undo. Again, I'm not talking about the insult there. I've been insulted better, much better. I've had some fucking messed up stuff done and said. So I mean, I don't particularly care about the end of part 2. I just think it showed you who this person is and what they're saying, what they're saying and what they're aiming your way. I think that was particularly on point with that. I think it was very clear what they were trying to say to you. But part 3 was an attack on one individual, and it made insane claims without any information to back it up whatsoever. Again, I'm not saying there aren't insane things out there either. I'm not saying that at all, man. I have seen some of the craziest shit. I mean, I've watched the entire in this story. I've watched almost the entirety of media pretend that something isn't happening for their own reasons, of course, but they wouldn't pick this thing up, which is great. I love it when they do that because you don't have to filter their noise out a lot of times. I mean, there's a problem that the public at large probably, if they ever hear this name in the future, they may not know anything about it. They're probably not Daily Beast subscribers, for example, and the same networks that would have been all over this story with the Elon Musk tint to it, they actually didn't go after it. And the other side of it, they went even further. They boosted this person up, and they've continued to circle the wagons around this person. So, I mean, there's that. That's a problem. But at the same time, you don't have to filter out their noise. So, I mean, that's a double-edged sword, as it were. The contingent of quote unquote normies, people that are not online or anything else, they far outweigh anything that you ever do online. I mean, big time. So they're not going to be informed. And when that name comes up again, if you search it after a while, all it'll take is organized puff pieces. I got to thinking about this. So I've seen brand rehabilitation in the future. And one of the ways that you can do that is you can go out and drown out prior noise by putting out one thing that everybody will pick up as a puff piece. And I'm telling you, like you watch, I'm telling you, in the future, you're going to see that same tactic utilized with this person. I just get my gut, my bones, they tell me that's what's going to happen. And it'll drown out the minimal noise that you saw. Now, that's not to discount the people, the independent journalists that picked up on this. Again, you had people like, everywhere from Pop Topic, bounding into comics. Again, Megan Fox picked up on that with PJ Media, and there are others. If you want to find them, really, what you have to do is you have to go in to something like Google, and you have to take out the relevance search, and you have to do date, and then you'll find more of them. But they're all independent. Even the Daily Beast, I would argue, is not. People talk about them being mainstreamed, how they're connected into the mainstream. They get more circulation, but at the same time, they're not really. I mean, when you have a conversation about, topics happening in the world, people aren't like, yeah, you know what? I'm going to get my Daily Beast on. I mean, you don't really hear that very often. So, but you can see the reality of the reliance on that. That's actually what was funny is after the rallying cry, this came up like right after the rallying cry for, I need all you men's to stand up. I need all you men's right now. You guys, you need to get in there. You need to do this, that, and the other. Yeah, that didn't work out very well. But you can see the reliance on these articles. Like she felt that these would be the thing that saved her. These would be the things that kept her brand because she is, you know, as much as she wants to tell you that she's X, Y, and Z, she's labels. She's a commodity. She has shopped said commodity around. She has done it multiple times already. This is how you try to keep it in shape. And you can see, I mean, again and again, you know, and again. She also went with this narrative of like he's such a brave soul because he risked everything on the altar of this story. You know, I did say, now I would offer one pushback to something some people said with this. There were people that said, well, he got threats. Why would you continue to put out a story if? No, you don't ever let people threaten you off something. But what you do is you go talk to the cops. You know, if you feel that the threat's legit, you talk to the police about it and everything else. You know why? Not because the police are going to come and save you. That's because if somebody shows up at your door, you know, your reloading doorbell, it goes click, 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 click. It plays a very fun song, you know, and you're okay with that. That's how you deal with that. So, I mean, honestly, and you cover threats outright. Like if I were getting threats because I was going to put out something, you better damn well believe I would fucking monetize your haters, man. You always monetize your haters. It is a valuable internet lesson that everyone should remember. But she relied on that. Hey, what's up, Billy? Thanks for the vibe. Eliza Bleu. You mean her new moniker? Eliza Lot. Eventually, Eliza Lot. That's really funny. Dark Gift. Thanks for the additional fun there. I find it funny that her blind date fella she brushed off is now a big time video FX editor in Hollywood. I actually didn't realize that. You know, there's so many pieces to this thing. I didn't even realize that. So close to the fame she seeks, and she blew it. Well, she treated that guy like absolute trash. I mean, God, that video, it was kind of embarrassing when you went down to it. But you see, I mean, again and again, you know, this Shane Cashman is a married man with small children. Their lives were all threatened if he did not publish a hit piece about me. He risked his life to say that he believes me as a survivor and dispose this op against me. That's true bravery. Yeah, he should have, again, he told you journalism is not, I don't have evidence of X, Y, and Z, but I believe that's not journalism. That's not journalism. Now, I'm not saying sometimes that every piece of a puzzle can be showcased, but you can showcase enough of them to make sure that something's real. And again, there's this spin. There's been this spin by every side of this stuff with regard to these folks here that, again, there's an op. Remember, they said this publicly. There is an op against that. That they firmly believe that behind the scenes. They just went too far. Like when they went down that rabbit hole, all of them. We were talking about PR ops. And I mean, it didn't make sense at first. The spin changed too, which I found fascinating. At first, you and I were all part of an organized PR push to do positive PR for her. I guess I didn't understand that. Then it became no. It's actually a PR campaign that's meant to destroy Elon Musk or somebody associated, and people do that by destroying her as well. Again, you know, it continually this idea of the op, it continually morphed into whatever was convenient, but none of it was real. Absolutely none of it. I mean, it's bizarre. It's bizarro fantasy land. But to be clear, there have been multiple threats against TimCast employees about this article. If it wasn't a hit piece, it was definitely a hit piece. It was definitely a hit piece. I believe in name and shame too. So if people are threatening you, fucking name them if you want to. I understand, like you don't put their or at least drop their messages, you know, show it. Now, YouTube is a stickler about email addresses and shit. So I always redact that kind of stuff. But at least put up the threads, show them off, you know, so we can see, you know, we can all see that. Because, hey, I don't care how stupid your shit is or how dumb it is. You know, I'll denounce your death threats. So Name and shame on that. Have fun with it. You know, Resh, thanks for the 5. Drowning out things is going to be so much easier with AI generated media. Thunderfoot just did an interesting video on it. I'll have to check that out. I mean, well, there are, the problem was here's an issue too. During the discussions that were brought up in the Cashman articles, there were legitimate problems that were being highlighted. I mean, they were absolutely legitimate problems that were coming up in that. The issue was that they were brought up in the most insane ways that you could imagine. It's just it's unreal. And again, it treated you and I like we were the bad guys in this kind of stuff, but we're not the ones that. Again, you didn't put yourself in a legal jackpot. I mean, anybody could sue you. Now, I want to make that clear too. Anybody could sue you at any time. That is a nasty part of litigation. That's why you have controversial laws like anti-slap. I I like and don't like them. I like them because they allow me to have a voice and not worry about as many frivolous lawsuits where I live. But I don't like them in the fact that you may never see an accuser. Like if an accuser comes in and calls you something, they say that you did X, Y, or Z to them. Like if Blue came out and named somebody, they may not ever be able to defend themselves in court. In Texas, for example, you had the Vic Mignogna case, where he was accused by multiple people, and he never got to the courtroom. He never got there at all. It was upheld, calling people the worst things in the world, calling them pedos and everything else, and destroying them, calling conventions, canceling their lives and stuff. That's the problem. That's why fakes, phony. That's the power. They have a lot of power in today's society. Shane Cashman kept getting caught up on the nuclear option. When he started out, he started talking about the doomsday scenario, saying, the clock is striking nearer to doomsday. There is a virtual doomsday scenario. And all that doomsday scenario is the weapon of mass destruction is just the utterance of simple phrases, like, he's my abuser. And that's all it takes these days. That makes it a huge problem. The problem, I mean, these are multifaceted issues. They're issues that deal with censorship. Again, what happens when, the people who didn't have a problem with this, you will have a problem with it. You had a problem with it 3 months ago when we found out that Twitter behind the scenes had done some crazy stuff when it came to the Twitter files. Everybody saw that as a problem, pretty much. When you have government contacting platforms and telling them to remove things at whim, they're violating every rule that they say exists. They're coordinating and colluding behind the scenes. People saw that as a problem. Now, people said that they saw it beyond the problem of political boundaries too, but when this thing came up, there were so many that circled the wagon, despite clear and convincing evidence that this person here, behind the scenes, they coordinated. They said that there was litigation. They inferred that there wasn't just litigation that was going to happen against this whomever person they keep saying they can't name. But they also inferred that there was litigation coming against all of us. That's what Blue said. She got her first correction on Twitter because of it. She said, non-consensual photographs, going to sue you all, essentially. She was using that excuse with Twitter. That's what Twitter doubled down on. I did a video on this because she essentially was telling them, not only is this based on a lawsuit, but I'm going to sue these people. This is going to be settled in court. I mean, she made it clear. She made it very clear that she was not talking about, no matter what spin comes up in the aftermath, she made it very clear in that beginning post that she wasn't talking about, say, a world star or some person that we had not mentioned. She was talking about Brittany Venti and anybody else in the beginning that had shared a picture. She figured that the internet would unite behind her in destroying that person after they had been removed. She definitely misread that situation. And in the beginning, you still had quite a bit of support behind her too. I mean, you still have quite a bit of support, interestingly enough. But in the beginning, she had quite a bit of support behind that message, because it can be a fake. I mean, so many people had heard about her. They heard about her through everyone you trust, right? She was propped up with that. She's a advocate this and that. Yeah. You want to see too. here's the downside to what happens next. This is the thing that irritates me. The internet is is a what happened today or what happened yesterday. Don't give me old news. And when they consider old news, again, we talk about advocacy and change, and yet something normally has to be happening right in the now, for people to truly register. This has gone on for a hot minute too. This has gone past the expiration date typically associated with something like that. But you notice Blue shuts up, TimCast shuts up, Quartering his he's made his peace. He's doing his thing. Again, no animosity or anything towards people. This is the negative side of this. Oh, it's over. It's all good to go. And this, I'm telling you, in a few months, this person, they won't admit to anything. They called people. They said that all of you sexually exploited them. Everyone that shared a picture from a video that was consensually done 6 years ago has been sitting there, that was bragged about the association with World Star and more, bragged about that video. Everyone that talked about that or shared a screenshot from that, you were exploiting them sexually. Again, that's also how you get sued. That is another way you get sued. You admit to trying to take people down. You do all of that stuff. I mean, that's how you dig a hole for yourself. But the problem here is, if you look at numbers wise, you look at the fallout. If something isn't happening in the now, people's attention, that wanes. And there's an unfortunate reality to that. And again, that's that this person will end up, I'm telling you, they will end up again right there, promoted. It's going to be good. There's another part to this too that I thought was funny. So Cashman is a source to go after. God, Defango, my brain it went out for just a second there. As a source to utilize, he quoted a person called BX Bullet. Okay, I did not know that person at all, but I'll show you where this is a real problem for him too. Like, his source to launch his attack there was to utilize, you can see, the private investigator BX Bullet. Now, if you want a really weird stretch into lore online, yeah, you should look up BX Bullet. It's a fascinating trip down insanity. I mean, it is utter freaking insanity. Now, this person says, of course, that they've been maligned and treated like absolute trash. They were attacked by X, Y, and Z. But the reality was that, yeah, they have done some just nasty, let's just say some nasty business out there. Well, interesting enough, after all of this stuff comes up, you have a turn of events where his source, the only source that he quotes for the entire thing, BX Bullet, guess what? They do what apparently they have done in the past. After chaos is sown, they disappear. You can look like just the other day, if you look through Defango's conversations, like if you look, where he's responding to people and stuff, yeah, you can see this account. They were active online. Now they ghosted everything again. They've apparently done this in the past. Like I said, there was so much controversy under their name. I mean, so much. I don't even know where to start with it. It was so nuts. Like I would encourage you to, if you want to see, if you really want a grasp of the shit show, you really want to see how bad this stuff was, look that person up. I mean, look them up. Look them up on YouTube. Apparently, they still have. I didn't really find active per se, but they still have Twitch. But as far as like Instagram, it looks like it's been ghosted. Twitter, it looks like it's been ghosted. And again, that's happened quite a few times. I mean, they've had shit show debates, which are fine. They've had shit show debates with like Hunter Avalon, which again, you may not know these names, but the debates, they don't. Debates online are meaningless, just to be honest. Let's just be honest with that. But outside of that, there was mass flaggings and everything else. I mean, if you look up the name just here, I type in BX Bullet. All right. Again, this is his source. That's why it matters. The only source quoted in his entire article. What you find off of there are things like, this person's a mass flagger. They make insane allegations about bullying and everything else. I mean, it's been part of their push. I mean, this is their coverage. This is what you find. Out there, and their title changes too. They're either a private investigator or they're part of big pharma. I mean, I'm like, what's going on? But it's funny because if you look through it again, this is a person that thrives in the controversy sphere. They for some reason had. I'm sure they had beef with a few people out there, and it's the same thing. Okay, we've seen this with with say the mainstream using Mundane Matt as a source, for example. Matt Jarbo, he gets brought up as he has to do an apology. I'm sorry about Gamergate. I'm sorry about how I got big. By the way, yeah, these people are all monsters and grifters. It's like, no, no, that doesn't work. Well, it's the same thing that you saw play out on that stage, only it's played out right here. It's such a mess. So when you go through again, the BX Bullet thing was used as part of the takedown. Essentially, the only thing that they sourced, this was outside of the claims of the gang stalker stuff too. There was no sourcing to that whatsoever. The only claim that they even tried to source was to say that Defango created a fake modeling website. Right here, you can see where they put this together. They have an unnamed source. I'm always leery of unnamed sources. Now, I have to use unnamed sources sometimes too. Like when I talk to somebody, say, that works at Warner Brothers and they're currently employed, and they tell me something about, like, say, what's going on with a movie, this or that, or say, I talk to a friend of, or an ex-friend of, say, a herd that doesn't want their life destroyed because, well, these people would definitely burn them to the ground for doing that. Yeah, I mean, you get that. You get sources, but at the same time, it's when people can't back up anything with documentation. Like, if you have to use source, then back things up with embedded documentation. Embed something. Again, an insane claim like Defango drove people to suicide. Like that's crazy. Like, you need some type of proof to go along with that, because if you don't, again, I mean, I don't know how to make that any clearer. Like, that should be journalism 101. That should be litigation 101 too. I mean, these folks, they should be running. Apparently Tim should run his articles through a lawyer. Hold on for 1 second. Let me grab something real fast. I gotta get a drink. I'm just walking across the room. Okay, I got something here. But yeah, apparently they should run them through a lawyer because the folks that are in charge there, whoever runs the site. Now, I'm not saying that Tim runs the site, by the way. He would have editorial control, but I'm sure the way that everything works out now, he probably doesn't run the website. He probably has somebody else doing it. It's probably, they probably have specific oversights. Maybe I would get the feeling that like Shane has a lot of power on there. You're going to have somebody like Cassandra, somebody that's going to have some power. Again, I don't know who specifically, but still, it doesn't matter. When you get sued for something like that, you still get sued. Like I didn't approve that or anything. That don't mean shit when you end up getting sued. That's what we don't always see that with litigation. We don't always see that side when it comes to defamation. Sometimes we'll see people go after the article writer, but you'll always notice, well, typically, I wouldn't say always, like the Depp case, he didn't include the Washington Post, but there's a strategic reason for doing it that way. But in this instance, I definitely would have gone after the host, and I would have gone after the person writing it, because the hosts themselves, like if it's a media juggernaut, an organized mainstream media juggernaut, they have liability limits. They can get away with X amount of stuff and only have to pay X amount of money. In most cases, not every case, but in most cases. Tim's not going to be in the same boat with this. Tim would not have the same protection. I don't think that's fair, by the way. I think that's messed up. I don't think the media should be able to go out, period, and smear you, destroy your life or try to, and then somebody say, okay, well, they did damages, but the damages are limited less than what you would end up spending carrying litigation forward. Like say, let's just hypothetically, let's say that Taylor Lorenz, let's just say hypothetically here, the lady that she went after, there were two women with the same name of the person that runs Libs TikTok. Taylor Lorenz went after both of them. She got the wrong person. She went to their home. She harassed them in their home. She was told over and over again. She told their mother that they were involved in the quote unquote, this is how she put it, the January 6th insurrection. I mean, could you imagine you're visiting from like Britain, your parents, you're visiting, you come in, you get these calls from a quote unquote journalist that keeps saying, oh, you're behind this account online. You're like, I don't know anything about that. What's up? That's not me. Then you go and you take your kids to one of the theme parks. I can't remember if it's Universal or whatever that they went, and they get a call from their mom whom they're staying with at the time saying, hey, this reporter here is saying all these things about you running this, that you were there in January the 6th, and you'd never even been to the Capitol. You've never been there in your life. I mean, I think the liability there, definitely, there should be liability in that kind of stuff. That's why, I couldn't believe, again, in all of this, the only thing that he defers for somebody else's words. Smart journalists do this. They quote other people, or they take pieces and they draw inference. Like the way we run a show here. Yes, somebody could sue you over it, but they would rarely, there would be no way to win because you're drawing inference. A plus B equals C, like Eliza Bleu, her own words, plus the timeline that she herself associated equaled, she's lying. Yeah, she could sue over the idea that someone calls her a liar. That would actually expose quite a bit more too. But ultimately, in a court of law, you would be allowed to have those opinions. Ultimately, you are allowed to go, and you're allowed to have you're allowed to, again, make inference. A lawyer can get into the specific case law. I mean, again, if you want to get into case law with it, like I said, 2012's been starting up his Rumble channel. I think that would be. I think he would enjoy the conversations. So, if you want to get in there, like he enjoys breaking it down. I think that would be fun there. Give me 1 second here. But you have, during all of this too, I don't want to cover this today. But during all of this, again, like I said, I want to dedicate a whole show. I'm going to see what happens in the next day, 2 days. There are other things that I want to cover because there's some insanity that is going on currently. And I definitely want to look at other stuff too. But I do want to cover that. I do want to cover the Owens statements about Eliza Bleu. I want to put that all into record so you can follow this along a specific timeline and you understand everything. Like if you run across Candace Owens statements, but they're like 30 minutes. That's an entire live stream to me. For me, again, this is most of a live stream. After that, I think there's more to be found. There's definitely more to be found. There's a lot out there. And as it comes up, I'll definitely bring it up. But like I said, the disengagement from this, again, this is the way that I hate this about the way our society is now. In the moment, I talk about how I suffer from shiny squirrel syndrome. Ooh, look over there. Well, that's our entire society. It feels like a lot of times, if somebody is fucking up bad, for them to hold most of a month, 10 days, whatever, that's almost unreal. That is almost unreal. So, I mean, this did get big. And the reason it got big, again, was because of continued action. But if people would have gone down, like, the craziness about this is, if say a Defango, his deep dive, if he would have talked about this and would have continued to deep dive, he would have been labeled a harasser and more. He'd been labeled the most monstrous stuff ever. And in fact, that's already becoming part of the, oh man, why are people still talking about this stuff? It's because people are still setting out bans, man. It's because it happened and nobody seemed to give a shit, as far as the same people that pump up the idea of free speech, the idea of platform manipulation and more. Again, if you can't trust a Twitter to not simp for an Eliza Bleu, how the fuck do you trust them when real money gets ragged in their face? When power, because again, Elon put a lot of money into Twitter, and Twitter is a failing enterprise right now. It looks like a mess. It is an absolute mess, and I don't understand. On the books wise, I don't see how that enterprise actually will work out. Not the way that they're going forward. I mean, it's too much of a mess. So how do you trust people? If you can't trust them not to circle the wagons over some nobody, really, when it came down to it, just somebody that they pulled into their circles and said, yeah, they're cleaning up Twitter. If you can't trust them not to do that there, how do you trust them going forward? You don't. I mean, and you put a lot of, again, if you think that's not a problem, see, people that are in the political spaces will tell you that's a problem when you looked at the Twitter files. And I do think that this is a problem. Like, if you really want to see something crazy, go and watch the old Twitter executives and watch them perform against a committee. You had a government committee. Pull them in. It's all over YouTube. You can find it in there. But watch what they're talking about, because they're talking about the suppression of a story when it's convenient in an election. Regardless if it's true or not, they're not suppressing every story out there. They just decided to throw their weight around. They decided to do it as a one-sided approach, and that's fucked up. To say that stuff won't happen again at some level, and to say it's not already happening. Again, if somebody will pull the trigger on an Eliza Bleu like this, what else are they censoring currently? Those questions, again, when the word why comes up, people should be intrigued because you know that there is something not right. There's a good song like I always liked. It's called The Background Noise. You have everything looks great and all, but you can hear it. There's that background noise. You just hear it, and it exists. You may not know yet what's happening, but something is wrong, something is off, and that should be it. And it should also be a part of accountability. Elon Musk is right there on Twitter. You can take that fucker to task. It's not like Jack Dorsey. Like Jack Dorsey, he had skin in the game to a point, but he's out doing his Buddha Zen shit and everything else. And Twitter wasn't going to collapse under the old regime. These people were all making very good money. I mean, very good money. The people that were in charge at the time. And on top of that, you had the ability, like if they were bought out, these people, they become insanely rich. So they were in a win-win situation no matter what happened. They'll face no consequences from the action. They got shamed in front of a government committee. But let's be honest, like a government committee is like a toothless person getting down on a piece of corn, like a corn cob. I've seen this happen before. Have you ever seen somebody that like doesn't have teeth and they've tried to eat like a corn on the cob? Have you ever seen that? It looks intriguing. They think they're going to get something done, but ultimately that corn on the cob, it's going to stay intact on the plate. That's what it was. It was intriguing. It looked like, it was going to be one hell of a show, but ultimately at the end of the day, that's the way it goes. That's exactly how it played out. But with Elon Musk, it's different. And Elon Musk promised you that he's going to be some free speech savior. And so did every fucking talking head that won't talk about these issues. Oh, they had time to talk about it when those Twitter files fell. Oh, they had time to talk about every little thing that came up with, say, Yul Roth, for example, when they were calling that dude a pedo. Oh, they had time to talk about that kind of stuff. But they don't have time when it's inconvenient to talk about the problems with Musk. I mean, again, he's become a person that he's become insulated. There are people that want to insulate the man because, well, I mean, why? Why? Because why? Why? Because under this new setup, they feel like this setup somehow favors them in some way, shape, or form. And I understand that too. I understand also being grateful. Say an Adam Waldman or anyone else. Again, they're not involved in this, but just to say, I can understand how they'd be like, yo, I got to count back. That's awesome. Although I would say, Waldman might have more to say about that. I'm not sure. It'd be fascinating to see what he would say. But we have Hilbert's Babyface, again, not involved in this, but just to say, I can understand how him or Ricada or anybody, they get that back. They're grateful, but you know what? They'd still talk about this stuff. But the people that go further, that would engage in these conversations, we're at the other side of a political or social spectrum, and they ignore it. They think they gain more. It's not just feeling grateful that you got something back. It's going down that rabbit hole more. They're afraid to burn that connection. I feel like if you do this thing properly and you talk about what's going on for real in the world, that all you do, it seems like, is make enemies. You make enemies of politicians. You make enemies of the mainstream media. You make enemies of talking heads and more because, they don't see you as a friend or friendly. They don't identify you as that. And they understand that if you're not controlled out there, if you're just somebody that that may mock their whoever chosen political party, or their chosen e-savior that down the road, you can't be trusted. You are the enemy too. In fact, you're probably more dangerous. Here's the thing: you're probably more dangerous in a lot of ways, like many of you, than a political party or anything else could be, because those places gave up their credibility a long time ago. People can say you have no credibility. They can say whatever they want about you. But the reality is that, you make fun of everything, then nobody can say, oh, you're on team whatever. But anyway, I thought this was fascinating stuff. I thought it was worth bringing up, especially with, again, the lack of sourcing, the claims that there's a psyop. I mean, there's statements like, it seems extreme and schizoid to say this out loud, but if you listen to people talk, you will learn that this is a real problem we all need to be suspicious of. Again, he makes statements like that over and over again. This sounds crazy. He said this multiple times in this article too, when he was going after Defengo. He's like, this sounds crazy. You know what sucks about this too? Defengo had his life aimed at. This is the fucked up thing about internet news cycles too. So Defengo just casually has his whole life aimed at there. Everything, his reputation, his life, the people around him. If you're around this guy, then I don't approve of you. That's what it says here. Oh, you're a threat. It calls you a threat. It's casually aimed there, and the way the internet news cycle works, oh, well, that happened yesterday. So 2 days, oh, well, it's all good to go. It's like, dude, we haven't even seen if there's damage from this stuff. We haven't even seen how that's going to play out. They owe him a retraction. They owe him not a pull down of an article. Like I said, I think that it should go much further. I think that they owe that man a fucking apology, and it needs to be public. Because again, or make an article with every source that you said that you had. One or the other. Be real careful about that too. Like I said, I've had people claim some crazy fucked up stuff about myself, because people want to destroy you. Like the fastest way to destroy somebody is to take their name, to associate that name with some of the worst labels in society, just to say, ooh, that way they hope they get a name search on that. And this article right here, when it was standing, this was if I looked up conversations about Defengo, I may not have him named in this article, but the conversations about this article were the top searches that I was finding. And you better damn well believe that did damage. Even in a day that it sets up, a day and a half, 2 days, that does damage. And the level of that, again, the problem is that we end up measuring these damages in what can you sue for damages. But I mean, you think about that. There's more. There's the unspoken damage that very much did. And it lingers because people still would have question about, oh, well, what's going on? Who's this person? And Cashman said he doesn't have a real platform to go out there. Many people have bigger platforms than him. He was using TimCast platform to push this narrative. He was using TimCast as a platform to push this. It's a pretty large thing in the middle of a giant social conversation and backlash. Like he was putting this stuff out. So again, we're not talking about it just thrown out into the ether, and it not being moored or connected to anything. I mean, we're talking about, again, in the middle of something that is trending and more people start talking about it. That's usually the point in doing this kind of stuff too. If somebody does a hit piece in the middle of something, the first mentions of Defengo, they also thought Defengo was banned. So I think that works into it as well, because they mentioned, that at the time, I think he came back. He got his original account back right before this thing launched. If I was looking at the timeline to that correctly, right before it launched, or at least he said something about it right in that. But they didn't have time. They already had the story ready. So again, the comments about him, they very much look like organized PR, damage control for another person. They didn't figure like a Defengo could defend himself, and it's just like everyone else in this thing. The mistake again and again is to assume that other people won't stand up and be like, yo, this is fucked up. Again, I don't know a Defengo from the past or any association, but I read that thread that was there. That thread was all Eliza Blue's own words. And they did a damn heap of trying to redirect, trying to gaslight and more to get you to look away from that thing. The problem for them is, though, like they pretend that without that thread, that there's nothing else. And that's a lie too. I mean, there is plenty more that has come up. I mean, just oceans of items that have come up. And some of them, they were just left hanging. And Cashman, he worked as, if you want to see the difference between reporting and like a puff piece, PR piece, you look at questions like, again, oh, well, what happened with this charity that you're talking about? Well, it wasn't really organized. I never took money, da-da-da-da-da. One question, that's it. It's gone. 80,000 words, but questions don't have follow-ups. They leave that person with one question, one statement. Again, that's the difference between a puff piece and journalism. And maybe Shane Cashman would have ended up getting kicked out of the home if he asked questions. Then so be it. So fucking be it. I mean, I don't understand. I don't comprehend why people were willing to do so much damage to self to try to preserve this person. I don't get it. They aren't one of you. In fact, if you go back and you look at the TimCast interview with her associated when she came out, she came on there to talk about the Andrew Tate stuff. Tim seemed very speculative of her. Like he wasn't just like right on the nose. Oh, let me embrace your story. Let me embrace what's going on. He seemed to have questions like, oh, what's going on with that? She also told you straight up. I always find this to be telling, I suppose, about somebody. She told you that she now identifies in the conservative sphere. And yet, I mean, she is again, a listening believer. Some people, they always try to twist this too. So I'm going to define what I mean by that. I think everybody understands what the fuck I mean. There's always people that are like, well, you've got to, you've got to show people empathy. Now, you don't have to help them burn another person's life down. You can show a person empathy. If they're like, yo, man, something terrible happened to me, you can help them with resources. You can show them empathy and more. If they're like, something terrible happened to me, and that person right over there, they did it. That's a problem. That becomes a problem. We just pick up the torches and pitchforks and we decide. That is the mob. Like he talks about the mob brain and stuff. That's the fucking mob brain right there. And we see it over and over again. We see high profile. The reason I bring up high profile cases, like they're really big ones, like if it's like Depp or Manson or whatever, is because everybody saw the damage real time that did. And again, it doesn't matter if down the road you find out that somebody did something. It's that it was decided on that day that the accusation came out that you defaulted to guilty. And that isn't justice. That is a lynch mob. We should have learned from the past. The same people that tell me to, and I've said this many times, the same people that tell me that they learned from the past, if you look back there were real problems with listen and believe. You know, we would see black men accused by white women. They would be lynched on the word of people. We say we learn from that, and we'll never repeat those mistakes, and yet here we are. We may not organize the same violence as a society that was seen there. We may not physically do that, but mentally, emotionally, and I mean, really, even in the real space of taking away opportunity, job, we destroy people with listen and believe. We absolutely destroy them. And again, we say that if you look at like an Emmett Till, you know, we learn from that as a society. We will never do that again. And yet here we are. We're right here on the edge. We're right there on it. And people are leading us like lemmings right off that cliff again, because they have the right buzzwords or whatever. Again, you can talk about accusations too. I'm not saying that. You can come to your own conclusions about a case as well. You can look at that, but that's not happening when something comes up. Like, again, you know, you see Evan Rachel Wood was a perfect example of this. You know, the day that she decided, she had already done a tour that included politics. She had gone to Congress talking about this unnamed abuser and more. I mean, she had connected very well to social organizations, political organizations. Like I said, she had all of this power behind her. And then one day when she puts out a name, bam, that hour, really within 10 minutes, you had labels dropping Manson. You had everything moves away from them because they can't be associated with that noise. What's the difference now? This has a body count too. You know, again, anybody that doubts that, if you want names of people, like, I don't know all of the names of folks, but there's a how-to guide that is sold on Amazon. It's called Destroy a Man Now. It has a good laugh out of all of the men that that at the time when it was published was that had their lives destroyed by false allegations. It is about how to leverage a false allegation against somebody. I mean, that's what the entire book is. How to destroy a man now. You know, how to damn a man. And it laughs at taking away everything, including lives. We've seen that too. Again, the Zoe Quinn example. We saw Zoe Quinn make she accused an ex just out of the blue. She accused him of doing some particularly heinous things to her, including keeping her confined, imprisoning her. And her own Twitter spoke out against that. The thing was, we didn't have a redemption cycle for the person that she accused, because less than 2 days into that, when he lost everything, he decided that he couldn't go on with his life. He took it away. So we didn't see you had many questions there. But again, that became judge, jury. And you know what happens to the people that do this kind of stuff? That leverage these things? Nothing. Societally, we do nothing about it. In crazy instances of just flagrant false allegations, every now and then somebody might see justice. But again, you know, we just watched the Heard case, for example. Burns a man's fucking life down publicly, spends over half a decade burning a dude's life to the ground. What happened there? They had some fines they had to pay. Oopsie. They still are doing fucking, they can still do any interview they want. They could do, they still have mainstream press just going in and simping that idea. It's ridiculous. What's up, Joey? Thanks for the 5. We did it during the Red Scare too. Oh yeah, we've done it. Here's the problem, and it's hard not to do this. Okay, it's people. We want an easy answer. We want to see an us and a them. That's how society likes to work. We see an us and a them, and we understand definitely. Like if somebody has a label attached to them that is one of the worst labels out there, they are definitely a them. They are put in a category. I mean, you see how people feel about. If you want a real understanding, when I say these are the worst things you can be accused of, they are. I mean, even predatory monsters that are in prison look down on these particular groups. They take out prison justice on them. In society, they either clap along privately or publicly. They're like, yeah, they deserve that. And I'm not saying that. I think the system too is way too soft on those fucking people. Ugh. I mean, when you have weirdos like the Jeepers Creepers director, I can't think of his fucking name right now, but when he does what he did, and he serves a year and a half for destroying lives, there's a problem there. But on the other side of that, the social lynch mob doesn't work. And I'm not saying, like, if you find out somebody truly is this kind of monster, hey man, fuck them. I believe, like I said, I feel confident in saying there are certain people that haven't been on trial that I think are very much guilty monsters. Like there are people like Bryan Singer, for example, the director. Oh yeah, he's a fucking monster. That dude is. There's so much proof out there that it's undeniable that this guy is. He still gets due process. That's the thing. For some reason, if you want to fix that problem, go fix it. Shame the fucking legal system into it. Make them fix these problems because this other way is not working. It just doesn't work. It's nasty. What's up, King? Thanks for 10. The mob is evil. We didn't learn from Salem. No, what's crazy? Actually, Ty Beard said something I thought was actually quite fascinating. The mob's even worse than in Salem witch trials, because at least in the Salem witch trials, they had legal authority behind it. No matter how messed up that is, no matter how jacked up, and obviously they were totally wrong there. Now it's just become a lawless entity. Then you needed to change that system, and it shows you that is a messed up system, and it does. But here you just have some random jack. You don't even have to have a real person. Like I've watched people have, these fires have started over folks with anonymous accounts coming out and saying, I was accused of X, Y. This person did X, Y, and Z to me. They're not. They've never done anything. Or TikTokers. I mean, we have a TikTok video that'll come out and just accuse somebody, and it burns them the fuck down. I covered that Andrew, what was it, Callahan? Which, he was accused by two. It looks like people he had relationships with. He was accused of some particularly heinous shit. Now, he is a listening believer, by the way. So, of course, you wanted that, you reap it. I find a delicious irony in watching people do that. But I found it especially interesting that he was accused of things you cannot prove in any way, shape, or form. He was just accused of, by one person, for example, they said that he had come over. He wanted to stay over with them. They'd been drinking. He had pestered her until she finally consented. They had sex. And then afterwards, oh my God, he's a monster. Now, she shared as proof two things. She shared text messages where both of them were like, hey, let's meet up. Let's have fun. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. And a picture that was taken in a bar with the both of them posing for photographs. They were all happy-go-lucky. That was proof that this horrible thing happened. That burned the dude down. And his responses are equally stupid. He's like, well, I think we should really give validity to other people's voices. I mean, I hear their truths in this, and I understand, and I embrace that, and I strive to be a better person. That said, these claims are 100% false. They're like, fuck that noise. You know, you'd have a problem like getting the cleats off your back if you did that to me. Yeah, I would never do that, but he did. Yeah, it was fascinating to watch. Weather Helm, thanks for the 10. You fight censorship. Love you, man. I like internet trash fires too. I mean, just to be honest, I look at this stuff. This was a trash fire, but it was an important, there's a difference. Like there are T channels that exist out there. And I don't want to cover channel drama, oh, guess what this person said about that person. I don't give a fuck about that, man. That's not fun. I have a real life. I have kids and shit. I don't have time for that mess in my life. What I do have time for, though, I do have time for watching corporations abuse their authority, come after people. This culture they wanted to build it's failing now. Again, like Disney, for example. Disney's a fun one. They Disney Plus, it's they just laid off 7,000 people after they attacked folks. They lost 2.4 million subscribers, and Disney Plus doesn't make money. Like most people, they're like, no, that's not true. Yeah, their projections to become profitable, they would have had to sustain growth like they looked in the beer bug, and they would have to do it through, I believe, 2025. I could be off. It could be 2024. I can't remember the exact projection dates. It was either 2024 or 2025, but they weren't profitable, and now they will never be. I mean, I like that kind of stuff. I like looking at companies that just denigrate, and they censor too. They do horrible things. I find that to be funny. I find that to be these what you do. The reason I like covering something like with the Depp Heard case. The reason I covered it for months afterwards is because it's not over when the trial ends. It's over when you see what happens. And really with that's not even over yet anyway. I mean, the insurance companies, they're still fighting because they spent $12 million. They're fighting with her. You had that Dr. Muffins, Shannon Curry. She was ran off of Twitter. Most people don't realize that. This mob of weirdos, they ran her off Twitter. Again, the stories don't end. But it's the same thing with like this story here. It's not just a public face that comes in or a public profile that comes in with an Eliza Bleu. It has so many pieces to that, and you want to follow it through and see exactly what happens. It's not just a surface level headline take. Headline takes are, they can be important. You learn a lot through them sometimes because mainstream, they're such shields, they get access. But some of this stuff, again, the same people that hated Elon, they wouldn't cover this. It's fascinating stuff. But anyway, hey, Jen, thanks for the 5 months. Been away for a while, personal things. Been catching up recently. I continue to thank you for still covering the truth, whatever it may be. Yeah, I find it interesting. I don't want to look at this as I'm not saying that things can't change in your life and you may be forced to do this, but I don't like the idea. See, I think the stumbling block a lot of times for people is when they see this as not a crusade to try to change something or to comment about. Again, I'm not saying like the internet trash fire isn't funny and just laugh at it, but at the end of it, there's a message in that. And a lot of people forget the message. They forget the message that is, that's supposed to be there. They look at the gains that come up, and the gains are there. Like after the Heard trial, I made money. For real. I made money. I very much. I don't hate money. I like money. But I looked at that, and that I looked at. I was talking to my wife about this. I was like, okay, so how do you go? I told her, I've got to cover this through. For me, I need completion. But after that, there are 2 ways to go about this. You can go about like there's a way to profit off of the algorithm. The algorithm isn't that hard to understand, actually. You know, a lot of people are like, man, Tim got that algorithm down. The algorithm's not hard to understand. You just find something that's big at that day, and you talk about what's big on that day. It will stick you in the algorithm because people are searching it. I mean, it's not rocket science. More people that do that, they continue to push people towards your channel. I mean, again, that's not rocket science. But when I was talking about that, and I was like, you know, it may not be financially maximized. Like, you can make more money, but if I have to do that day in and day again without and sacrifice whatever message that you have underneath, because oh man, like when you get into the political sphere, especially, holy shit, like you have to, you'll either be censored and shut up, or you'll become the most milk toast, nothing in that. I was like, you know, one or the other. You know, I can go out and talk about what I think is important, I mean, it makes money still. It's good, and I appreciate folks, you know, watching and doing that. But there's a difference in, you know, chasing a relevant topic and getting 200,000 hits every video, and chasing a topic I think is important and getting 10 to 30. You know, there's a big money difference. But she's like, "Dad, do whatever you want to do on it." I don't know. Like I said, there's things that bother me out there too. I mean, there are ways to maximize your money too. You know, hey, just start a little drama and put it all behind members. Apparently that works. I have problems with paywalls. Again, I know where a lot of people use paywalls too, but that's one of my gripes about the mainstream paywall. I hope that with people that like something, that's the one thing I like about memberships and stuff. I hope, you know, if people like what you do, they can become a member of something and they just back, and who cares, you know. But you don't have to you can give them thank you topics. I'm not saying that doesn't exist. But man, like I'll go to read. I had this thing that happened the other day. I went to read about a particularly gruesome case that happened. It was about a woman that was let's just say it was very gruesome. All right, and the place that was hosting this, they had it behind a paywall. I thought, what a fucked up thing. You know, these places that complain about profiteering, you know, future stuff. I mean, they lock all of it, and that's also how you become obsolete. Let's just be honest. One of the things that turned the mainstream obsolete was becoming this biased noise, blah 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 blah. You know, just clucking all the time, and hiding all their shit behind paywalls, thinking that, man, there aren't any options out there. Nobody will ever go away. They think they own you, man. That's a mistake. Again, it works in the moment. You make your maximized money, bank it, you know. Nothing wrong with money. Again, I don't hate anybody for money. I don't care how you grift, you make your money either. I don't give a fuck. You know, I sell products. ThatUmbrellaGuy.com. Yeah, we do a lot of stuff, but at the same time, I think there's supposed to be a message in the middle of it. I think some people lost their way. I think they lost it. I think they got mad when people pointed that out. And ultimately, I guess it doesn't matter. Like the saddest part of all of this shit is it doesn't matter, because it didn't matter with Jack Murphy. It doesn't really matter with Eliza Bleu. They will continue to operate. They will continue to operate at the same place they did before. You know, what was interesting. If you want to see how public responds to this stuff, you had when the only time I've ever seen Tim lose, he lost some subscribers on I mean, he felt some pressure, but this is how Twitter, let's look at Twitter here. Okay, just a note, public reaction. This is when he was fighting with Germany. This is when they were like, "Oh yeah, we're all good to go." Public reaction. It's good. It's good. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I find that to be a sad indictment of society sometimes. I'm not saying that somebody should be, again, burned down or anything like that. I'm just saying, like, they were putting out hit pieces on anybody that that fucking so much is uttered a breath about this thing. Again, when you hear about people talking out both sides of their mouths, apparently all I need to do is hire somebody to say whatever fucked up thing I want to say, put it in an article, and that's how I take down folks. Apparently that's the lesson to be learned in that, I suppose. But no, I mean, you heard it. The leftists, and people eat that shit up, man. The political grift is a very good one. And the fact that if you convince people that you're on their side, dude, they will fucking eat you up. Well, they do. It's sad because people feel voiceless in this. Unfortunately, they somehow they think, well, this person or politician or whatever gives me a voice, and it works like this. Typically, there's not anything to it. You have, and again, the blue stuff is falling off. It's you mark my words, within a week, Tim, again, you have blowback there, but it'll be gone in a week. Nothing. It'll be curious to see if he makes a statement. He should make a statement again about that. The Fango thing is fucked up. But also, I mean, again, they were like, okay, well, I want to apologize for attacking all these folks. And then like part 3 of the fucking article series comes out, and it goes from you're all blood sucking leeches and tumors and shit like that to, well, let's just keep going down the rabbit hole and attacking people. I mean, again, and then they're like, oh, well, we're going to ghost the whole thing because you don't understand gonjo journalism. You don't really get the writing style. So we apologize for that. And it's like, yo, just say you got it wrong, man. Like, what is it? What is it with people? You got it wrong, dude. I mean, we get it wrong sometimes. Like for me, here's one for me. All right. When I looked at the Depp thing and I looked at J.K. Rowling, J.K. Rowling backed him with 2, Fantastic Beasts 2, Fantastic Beasts 3. She did. And at first I was like, fuck, her too? What the fuck, man? But when you look at it, she didn't not back him. She just lost her power. That's what it was. She lost power and authority with Warner Brothers, which is fascinating too, because it tells you, like, look at how Hogwarts made money. Look at the amount of money that fucking game made. And think about Fantastic Beasts. Like, think about how they could have handled that situation. God, I mean, they could have made so much money. They're just morons. I mean, again, it's a Warner product too. They're all over it. But I'm saying, with that particular situation, with Depp, J.K. Rowling, and more, if they would have handled it a specific way, they could have made money hand over fist. They didn't, and that's the same thing that we see illustrated. But like I said, okay, going back to my point, I lost my point for a second. When I looked at that situation at first, I was like, fuck, what the hell? That is a huge betrayal. But no. When you really looked into this situation, it wasn't that at all. In fact, the level of trying to help out went above and beyond. For any criticism that I have of J.K. Rowling, like some of the mob that tries to destroy her these days. I mean, she catered to that thing for years. So, I mean, okay. Not saying that that's good or right or anything else. I mean, she's if you don't like J.K. Rowling, it's fine too. I don't give a fuck. But like I said, I got that wrong. I was just like, yo, I got it wrong. I looked at that. I'll leave the video up for another couple of days, and then I'll end up pulling it. But I, noted, hey, I got that wrong. That's all you got to do now. Like, look at this situation. I handled it poorly. I said things in a way that I didn't mean. Like, that's all you have to do. If I were handling this thing if I were in the middle of it, I'd be like, if this situation got out of control, that's on me. I looked at that. I didn't want to sound off on it. I wanted to do this, that, and the other, and the noise just got to me. I reacted poorly. I insulted people. I insulted YouTubers. I insulted most of all you folks. You're the ones who did it. That's the way I would handle it. It'd be very simple, concise. You wouldn't have to. You could just put it to bed. And I know there will be people that say, well, he apologized. He apologized. He said we shouldn't fight. No, really. He might have said something behind a paywall, but I kind of missed that. I did get the massive fuck yous coming from Cashman hosted on his site at the same time, right after he said that. It's like, yeah, we shouldn't fight anymore. Here's part 3 from Shane Cashman telling you all to fuck yourselves. Oh, anyway. Sin mind, things alive. It's a sad state of affairs. It is so hard to find the truth. Even worse when you market yourself as on the side of truth to those who trust you. It is. It's actually one of the problems is, there's 2 problems there. There's access. First of all, if you're on the side, if you really are neutral, access, you may have access behind the scenes. Like I found access behind everything to be fascinating. You can definitely find out about what corporations do from employees because they treat them like garbage. Or you can find out about, stars or starlets. But the political thing, you're going to get access, but it's only usually going to be people looking for beneficial access. They're not just wanting to come out and talk about X, Y, or Z. They want to spin, and if you aren't if you aren't beneficial in the spin, of course they don't want to be seen with you. Of course not. That's why political parties have their own fucking networks. They have. Depending on which side of the spectrum you fall on, you have your own specific networks for that. Everybody knows they are their own specific networks for that. But yeah, finding out the reality that exists between the lines in the margins, it's very difficult. It is. And you can get it wrong. Like this is the frustrating part of all of this shit when we talk about it. The most frustrating thing to me is the fact that you can get it wrong. Like nobody's saying that you can't. But again, even in getting it wrong, there's not admission that you got it wrong. It's just ghosting the thing like it never existed in the first place. Pretending that everything just somehow it fell through the cracks and nobody noticed it anymore. Like I said, these articles, they're removed. Great. That's good. You probably needed to distance them from your brand. I agree with that 100%. It's not about censorship or anything else there. It's about you brand damage. You did it without any proof whatsoever. People everywhere could see that these were puff pieces. They were ridiculous. And they went past 1.5 of them were puff pieces. The other half of part 2 was an attack piece for everyone. It was just like throwing a dart at a dartboard. And part 3 was a singular attack piece that focused in on one specific target and tried to absolutely destroy them 100%. Tried to wreck their entire life. So I agree that taking them down was probably if I were looking at that, again, they're a choice. I don't give a shit if they take them down or not. In fact, I actually enjoyed them being up. Because it showed you like you got to see a real face of this. This is the thing. This, if you look at that and you're like, man, stifling speech, taking down stuff. Now, they did that as a business decision, not to stifle speech. And in fact, I like it better. It's just like, any asshole that goes out and tells you who they really are. Like, if somebody hates me, I like to know that they hate me. I appreciate knowing that, if you hate me for whatever reason, then I know that when problems roll around, that you not only didn't stand up for what was going on, you didn't stand up for the dozens of channels, the dozens more just regular, ordinary people that were hit with this, but you attacked them, telling them, fuck you, it's your fault. Fuck you, you're part of a lynch mob. Remember that, like, because they come for you, especially in that political sphere, they will burn you. Like in currently, you see the reaction to just subscribers and more, man. It'll get even crazier. It'll get even crazier. It'll be funnier to watch. Like I said, there's a way to build. Like for me, I'm not algorithm friendly in that. I got a bunch of subscribers out of, and I appreciate it too. But I got a bunch of subscribers out of being mentioned in a court case. You can follow through and you can keep up, like, move on to the next Hollywood case, which I don't know. I don't fucking know. But I mean, you could chase the algorithm and you keep building. You can build a million subs that way, but a lot of times doing that just costs you everything. It costs you that one thing that you can't get back. It's credibility. Yeah. It's funny. Like the people, it amazes me too that the people that hardcore have been in the backing Tim in this, they can't hear what's said there. Again, this wouldn't have been a controversy if it wouldn't have been for them throwing. It got to the point where people were asking, is this him is he doing 4D chess? I mean, that's what people started asking, because surely he can't be that dumb, can he? That's what, I mean, when you have the audiences saying, that's just him making sure he gets his money. No, you could tell that wasn't. You could see him crack up on Twitter. You could see it. You could see him crack up in that 50-minute video. You could see it. He reacted to the stress of it. And dude, this stuff can be stressful. It very much can. I'm not even saying that either, when it goes after your wallet. But I look at this. I had skin in the game too. I got a privacy notification. Apparently, my video did not fall, so that's okay. My privacy complaint was aimed at nothing, it felt like. So they didn't do a good job with that. But also, I looked, I didn't need help with that thing. Like, that was so ridiculous with that. But on top of it, like I said, just the idea as a whole bothers me that people were hit. But focusing that, see, a lot of people love to throw around words like community. As a community, what the fuck does that mean? What does that mean? If we're not standing with one another during those times when somebody gets hit, then all that means is you walk lockstep. Silence is golden. And maybe one day you'll be graced with an appearance on the show. Maybe. That's what it means, though. I mean, community, what the fuck is that? So I'm paying my dues for services that what? Like, it's not just like an ignoring of an issue. It's telling you again, fuck you, that's your fault. It's not a problem. It's a problem because you're a leech. You're a tumor. I mean, shit, dude. That is not community. I don't get it. Jim, thanks for the 5. You mess up, you own your mistakes. Paul couldn't do this, then he lied. So does people. Created BS. People get it, some anyway. Yes, some will. Like some, again, I've heard a lot of people say, well, He does great stuff out there, therefore. Oh, okay. All right. Like I said, I'm not his target audience. So, but apparently these little hiccups right there, they just make you money and go along. Maybe I'm running, like I said, maybe I'm doing YouTube wrong. Maybe I need to say something and be like, fuck X, Y, and Z. Then I start putting, maybe I talk shit behind a paywall. Maybe that's how you're YouTube correctly. I don't know. I don't get it. Julie, thanks for the 10. People who forgot the power of saying my bad speak loudly about their personal integrity. I won't ever trust anything Tim has to say because he can't say we got all that wrong. That's true. Well, Weatherhelm, I mean, they also say, well, thanks for the vibe. Tim must call for unbanning. Ban lives matter. I mean, for real, though. How hard was that to do? Chrissy, they finally were like, whoa, this is a problem there. And like I said, so many people were like, well, you could tell Tim didn't really know about this issue. Fucking A, he knew about this issue, man. I mean, and here's the thing, too. Okay, if he didn't know about this issue, what the fuck is the point in like someone like Shane Cashman? Like, what's their point? It's his employee that wrote a novel that he, again, they discussed, obviously. If he's writing his novel, again, if you're giving these people editorial power, what I heard from Adam Krigler about his experiences on the Tim Bull show, what I heard was about ego and control. And it's hard for me to believe that person that I'm listening to be described there doesn't put editorial control at the helm. They don't have any control over this stuff. Anyway. All right. I'm going to go, LOL, troll is funny. I like troll. If a troll is a funny troll, they're always well. Yeah. Funny trolls are always fun. It's like the low tier trolls are just like the best things on the internet or memes are funny. It's also the reaction to memes. I would just say on a particular front too. Like if somebody starts making jokes about you, like for 10, he needs to loosen up a bit. If people are like putting a Jack Murphy hat on, you fucking laugh, man. Make a joke about it. Diffuse it. Again, it's coming from a person that when people shortened that umbrella guy, I never thought about it. When they shortened it to TUG, what do you think that point was? The first people that brought that up were trying to use that as a fucking way to to make let's just say a not a not rated certain. They wanted to get that NR rating on it, and lean into it, man. Again, when people start trending your tits and they start, mine, hashtag Tugs tits. When they start trending about pickles and stuff, just lean into it. Who cares, man? And if people question your credibility, if it's right, then fucking fix it. It's not a lot. I mean, that actually, in a lot of ways, down the road, that works out even better for you too. Because, people be like, yeah, all right. I mean, I've also, like, when we're looking at trials too, you can't help but be somewhat biased when you look at a trial, right? As you go along, you have to be able to adapt and, move through information, sort it, and figure out what's happening real time. When we're looking at this stuff, if you go in with just specific confirmation bias for everything, that's bad. And then on top of that, if you attach your ego to the internet, the internet will destroy you. It will destroy you. It will destroy you, not just because of it won't just destroy you as far as like a platform, like saying the rise and the fall. I'm talking about it will destroy you mentally. It will fuck you up inside because you just can't personalize this stuff. Like people don't say when they have a difference on the internet, they don't just say, by Jove, that umbrella guy Jolly right. No, they don't go with that. They tell you, oh, you piece of shit, I hope you die or whatever. That's the way they go with that. And that's the shorthand for almost everything. Now, unfortunately, that doesn't lead to a lot of discourse, but it's just the way that, right or wrong, if you like it or not. I'm not saying that it's the best thing in the world. It's just, it is how it is. It is how it is. It's always been that way. It was that way when people were hungry. They didn't mind that either. In fact, they've led to some of that. Again, in the "I'm just a troll" shit. How many people have they taken aim at doing that same thing? When they're trolling and they're making fun of shit. It's okay then, and I understand that you don't want to be the focus of a story that's coming through the rank and file of I don't mind, like, the mainstream or Taylor Lorenz comes at you fine, but it is irritating, particularly also when like a Cashman using Tim's platform comes after the very people that are banned. And apparently somebody saw that as a problem. I think, like I said, I think Griffcast, IRL, I think they're the reason they took this stuff down. It led to the domino effect of it. But again, even in that, you misinterpreted this, therefore. I mean, it's just crazy. Anyway, I'm going to end here. Tomorrow, if something crazy breaks out, then obviously we'll be on something tomorrow. Otherwise, I'm going to cover that Candace Owens thing. And then I'm going to figure out if there's anything left that I want to say on it. I personally don't want to talk about Tim anymore unless they drop an article. I think I've said what I want to say. I think I may remind people periodically that, again, they just left it there. Again, the DeFango thing, it didn't just go away. You didn't just ghost it away. Like, they spit in his face, and they were like, well, we're going to take that down. Again, it's very easy. Just print a little retraction or something. Come on, man. Like, it's not difficult. It's not difficult to handle this correctly. Even if it is a blow to your ego, it's not difficult to handle that correctly. So periodically I might mention something like that because it irritates me. It irritates me that we still have banned people, but I don't want to do Tim streams. Like I said, I found it fascinating, but people, like, again, the unfortunate reality is that people will move on. They'll pretend nothing happened. I mean, I'm not going to pretend nothing happened, but, now, if somebody sues or something, you better damn well believe I'll continue covering it. But with Blue, I want to figure out, again, I want to see what Candace Owens all had to say. I want to put that out there. And I want to see what else hasn't been put in yet. But I don't want to... I mean, every time I think this too, she stupidly, like, has added to the conversation. She's kept this going for weeks. The story thing is not over. It needs reminders a lot that say that people are still banned. They are still setting out. So, when the story moves on, the reality is wreckage is left in its wake. That's unfair and that's fucked up to say, like, oh, story over. It's not over. But I don't know what else you can say. You can remind people that it's there. I just don't know. Again, tomorrow I'm going to compile what I think is left that needs to be added on, that I've forgotten to put on there. I'll put into Candace Owen. I also want to give shout outs to the places that I want to compile a list of the places that actually covered this story, not YouTubers and stuff, but independent press. I want to see how many I can find. Really do a dive into that. And then after that, like I said, if this goes to litigation, if she sues somebody or someone sues her, oh man, she keeps saying, oh, we have litigation. My legal team, at the same time telling you that the I'm suing the YouTubers was a lie. But I think that should be called out too if it doesn't ever manifest. Her name, everybody knows her name. Morthland. She says that there's litigation. She keeps saying, I don't understand the discussion. I don't understand if she's saying that. At first, when I read the words from Shane Cashman, I thought she's saying there's a lawsuit already, but there are ways to check all of that. And now you can serve someone papers and stuff. There's specific states where you have a lawsuit that isn't easily, you can't just run across it out there. But there would be some trace of litigation if this thing had actually circulated into a court. There'd be some way to prove it. And so far, you just you have these strange, for a person who wrote 80,000 words, they didn't say fuck all, did they? They didn't clarify any of those answers at all. So, wait, what is that? Give me 1 second. I was looking up lawsuits just to see if it was there. Like I said, if somebody else finds a lawsuit, tell me. I love lawsuits. I love looking through them. And I'm fascinated by accusation culture. Like, that's one thing. Like, I don't know what we do on this channel. Like, I cover some stuff that comes out of the pop culture. I cover stuff that comes out of different places, but accusation culture fascinates me. So if you find, again, litigation, you could prove that anything exists, show it to me. I want to see it. What's up, Canes? Thanks for the 5. New Shane Cashman tweet. And DeFango's reply. Oh, shit. Let me see this. New Shane Cashman tweet. Really? Let me see. Man, did I miss that? Shane, cash me outside. Oh, man. Every time, man. Every time. Oh, shit. 15 minutes ago. Oh, I thank the content gods, baby. That umbrella guy, I think the story's ending. No, it's not, baby. It's just getting started again. Thank you to the content gods. I guess we'll have some stuff added on tomorrow because this is not going to die out. So, here, check this out. This is going to be funny to watch. Holy shit. Shane Cashman, 15 minutes ago. 15 minutes ago. Yeah. Thank you to, I'm like, praise you, content gods. And I went down to the content river and I saw a man in a beanie. And that man, he said, bring me your e-drama. Bring it to me and I will multiply it. And he did. He did. Praise you, beanie. Praise you, beanie. Oh, I love it. Oh, my God. Sings the hits. Oh, my God. This is so good. Oh, look at this. Okay. Got to calm myself down for a minute. I've been on here. I was just like, I'm going off. But this will be tomorrow. Like I said, tomorrow it doesn't stop. He's not smart enough to stop it. So Shane Cashman is like, I'm grateful that Eliza trusts me with her story. Why? Here's a question too. Why is it that people like Cashman that grift so hard for fucking folks like Elon Musk? Why don't they have Twitter Blue? Just a question. Like, do you ever think that, if you're like, you're willing to grift into it that hard, like, why don't you have Blue? Why aren't you supporting that $8? If he is the savior of the human race and he's going to save all of Twitterdom, why aren't they paying the $8 to fucking practice what you preach? Is $100 is a little over, or $11, depending on where you are and what you're using. Is a little, $100, $150. Is that too much? Is that too much to ask along with it? But I'm grateful for my readers. I'm proud of my work. I'm proud of it. I am blessed with these opportunities. There has been no new information brought to light that would sway my belief in her, nor played a role in the removal of the series. I told you it's about getting sued. I'm telling you, I'm gonna make a video on it. Fuck these guys. I'm making a video. I can't help. Like, how do I stop? Oh my God, Montana Bow Lady. Thank you for $200 there. Thank you there. You missed some of the super chats. You're hurting people's feels. Oh, my bad. My bad. I don't want to beanie it up. My bad. Thank you for that, by the way. Yeah, I sometimes I get talking about something and I forget. Yeah. Give me 1 minute. Like I said, I forget sometimes. I'll pull those up. That's crazy though. Thank you for that. What a way to remind people. Wow. I'll look at them in just a second. I'll pull it up there for a reminder. So look at that. Like, oh man, thank you for this tweet. He has Frost. Has Timble. Here's Defango. Basically, you lied about me knowingly and simply don't want to believe I exposed that company for a reason. You'd rather stick to your guns. Well, you know what that means. Holy shit. Oh my God, Defango, if you sue, baby, if you sue, you are, oh my God, sue him, man. Fucking sue him, dude. Sue him. Fucking go to war, dude. Do it. Do it. I'm not saying that because, well, okay. I'll be clear. I do love watching the chaos. It's beautiful. He was like, these people are all in it for chaos. You better fucking A right. I love watching the crazy, but it's not mine. What I love seeing is, again, they didn't print a retraction. They didn't say, no, nothing there. They doubled and tripled down on the fact that Defango is this monster. And they didn't just say that he exposed information. Again, they didn't add any qualification to it that said that there was anything that backed this up whatsoever. Nothing. If you did that to me, I would fucking sue them. I would. Like, fuck them. I would sue them so fast it would make their heads spin. Because they kept on doing it. They thought that they could get away with it. They figured that, again, Defango is this little nobody out there, and you can attach whatever you want. When you're talking about injecting shit into people's necks, driving them to suicide and shit, that is a fucking crazy claim. Crazy claim. Oh my God. What a way. I think, again, TimCast writer and Timble, they're both like on the hook with this kind of stuff. You know why Tim would be on the hook? Because he has money. Like, here's the thing. And yeah, that would be a real problem for them. I bet you they'd settle. I bet you they'd pay for that mistake. They'd pay you not to take them to court like that. I mean, we'd see, but oh my God, that's crazy. Parody Bear, thanks for two. Defango is wearing that spacesuit because of me. It's oh, it's so good. I love it when Tug talks. I love it when Tug talks through gritted teeth. Yeah, I'm like, oh my God. Like I said, some people like it, some people don't. But like, I don't want to fake emotional responses to you either. If I think something's funny, I'll laugh about it. Live, like in videos, they're not meant to be emotional. They're meant to be conveyance of information. Here, it's just happening in the moment. So who cares? It should be real. All right. What's up, King Lake? You missed mine and Maz's super chat. Yep. See that? Thank you. Yeah. That's part of the op, bro. I didn't miss your super chats, actually.
That's part of the op, bro. That's part of the op, bro.
Oh, that's funny. Who just said that to you? Miss Maz's super chat. All right, let me go back. Sorry about that, Maz, too. No problem for that. Thanks for the find there. Oh my God, Tug. Rihanna is currently singing Under My Umbrella, Ella, Ella, Ella. At halftime. Had to mention it to you. Oh, that's funny. That's really funny there. I missed viral shorts too. Thanks for the vibe there. Did Candace Owens mention content creators being censored? She threw out a wide net. She thinks some content creators too. She brought up Defango, I believe, as one of the ones. Maybe that's why. Again, when you look at it, you can loose link some of this stuff and say, well, it's not all tied up. But again, why do you think they needed to destroy Defango in this? Like, what do you think the purpose in that is? That's when it gets interesting. Let's see. I'm looking just 1 second. I'm seeing what else I missed here. There's John S. Thanks for the 5 there. Anita Sarkeesian / Gamergate was another one. Yep, that's true. One second. This freaking window is so weird here. Tyler Durden. Thanks for the 5. AH is so happy. Eliza Bleu came into the picture. Indeed. Hey, what's up, King Lake? Thanks for the 5. Some shekels for Lug and Bug at 7:30 PCT. The theme songs for The Neon Revenant premieres on my page. Check it out after the stream. Yeah, definitely. Check out King Lake anyway, because he's good people. King Leek. Because he's good people, period. I met them real life. Met them down at Matsuri. It was a lot of fun. So check them out. They got a project coming up. Definitely check that out for sure. Lucas, thanks for the 2. Daily Beast did better journalism than TimCast News. Isn't that a sad statement? Like, what world did that start happening? Bessie, thanks for the 2 there, too. Pool does poll, shuts himself down. Truly epic. Indeed. I'm just reading some in here too. I don't know if I can't remember if I called them. If I did, then I did. ARK, thanks for the fun too, rather. Like Spaceballs, the newscast. That's funny. Johnny 12, thanks for the 2 there. I'm Robot, can't read, leftist, he is dumb, y'all. That's true too. I mean, again, if you have to go to I'm not saying that people won't shut you down for political speech and something, but they will definitely they definitely become a fall guy for a lot of bad faith nonsense too. Again, I'm not saying that you don't have the wokies out there, the uber progressives. They are crazy. They're fucking crazy. Like, that's if anybody, again, I see people, they're like, oh my God, that's so no, they're fucking crazy. Like, there's a 2% on if you take a scale and you look at it and you were to say, center, left, right, there is a very vocal fringe minority that has become powerful in canceling people with anything. Ableist this or labels. Again, that's where this culture comes from. That's why. But you have on the other side of it, again, you had the birth of conspiracies and other crazy shit too. So, I mean, I'm not saying both sides don't have it. The thing is, though, dismissing criticism as it's just the leftists. They want to do me in. I mean, what's amazing is that plays, dude. It actually works. It fucking works. I'm in the wrong grift, man. I'm in the wrong grift. Anyway, I think I really. I dropped my freaking phone. Give me a second. I do think that there's very real potential for litigation. If you want to see the conversations about that, look at Legal Vices has actually talked about some of it. Legal Mindset has talked about some of it again. So much nuttiness, so much craziness. And I really would love to see DeFango sue. Again, if you sue, man, or if you need to pump that up, I mean, like I said, I fuck these people, man. If they're not going to print a retraction or do anything like that, Shane Cashman doubled down. The network itself, they may end up printing a retraction, but I mean, the damage is done. You can sue with a retraction. You realize that, like ghosting an article doesn't stop a lawsuit. It's the dumbest thing. I got to make a video on this. Fucking idiots, man. You know. I mean, really, TimCast writer and Tim Pool may get sued. For real. It's so freaking crazy. Over Eliza Bleu. I mean, legit. That's what, again, DeFango is saying there with that statement. You want to stick to your guns, you know what that means. You know, fascinating stuff. Anyway, I love it. All right, well, I'm going to end here. It's been a fascinating night. Thank you for that super chat. Like I said, if I don't read a super chat, it's just me getting caught up in what I'm doing there. But I appreciate it. That is on me. It is always on me. You know, I don't ever want to get to the again. And you know, I've seen the size of. I've seen what a 40 or 60,000 fucking person live stream can do as far as trying to keep up with stuff. I've seen that before, and I don't care if that's the only problem in my life I ever have. Then, ooh, man, I love life. You know what I mean? So thank you again. That was my bad. See how easy that is? That's my bad. You know, be humble, man. Be the pickle. Be your inner pickle. That is it. Actually, maybe I'll start my new grift. Be your inner pickle. You know, you just got to focus on the Zen. And when you think, what would my inner pickle do? Anyway, I'll leave you with that. That's just so dumb. All right. Thanks later. Catch ya.